Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. A lot of good comments recently, things I hadn't considered about the world of the Binding of Isaac. Hey, all stats are good except speed. VD, VP, FB, NL. You know what? FU, not NL. FB? FU! Honestly, you have to... Geez, I start an Isaac episode and I think it's gonna be a nice, affable time, and then somebody tells me to FB. That's why I say FU. I see a VDVP with the FBNL and I say FU. Okay, well, one thing, so we're still missing some deal with the angel items. People gave me a great piece of feedback that is like high-level strategy, and you'll scoff, high-level strategy, y'all right. But it is high-level strategy for Isaac, you know? Average player of this game wins like one run in a row, alright? High-level strategy, by this I mean, take a deal with the devil, instead of being like, oh, I can't take a deal with the devil and it's leaving me offensively impotent. Not so impotent that it's offensive, but so impotent in the avenue of my offense. What we should do is take a deal with the devil, then go to a self-sacrifice room if we find one, play it 3 times. It gives you the chance to be blessed, and I don't think it gives you a... Actually, it might give you a guaranteed angel deal, but it either gives you a guaranteed angel deal, or it gives you, oh, this is wait what? This is actually really nice. It removes the precedent for deal with the devil. It actually is literally Butterbean. Oh my lord. I mean, in the end, what do you say? Monster Manuel versus Butterbean. It's a tough call. Blood of the Martyr. Very nice upgrade that, oh, I didn't even see you. Very nice upgrade that I think I have the, a history of underrating. So to pick this up, along with a little tech 0.5 that's doing wonders for us, I'm very happy about. Let's see what we got going on down here, though. Half a red heart. No! Very useful for our arcade on the next floor, which we're definitely gonna get. Let's just keep holding ourselves back here. We're good. We got infinite range. As long as we got time, we got infinite range. We got very, very little to worry about. Monster Manuel is an item that, you know, I don't want to insult a spacebar item like this necessarily, but sometimes it's got to be done. Sometimes I think it's worth not using because the amount of kilocalories your body expends, you know, sending the nerve impulse followed by the, you know, the actual actin myosin fibers tightening in order to hit the spacebar might not necessarily be worth the effect you get for having one familiar on one room. But, you know, maybe I'm being a little bit... Could it be plausible that I'm exaggerating? I'm using a little exaggeration there. I don't know. Maybe not. We did get a Tears upgrade, and we did get a Pretty Fly, both of which are quite nice. As snobby as I've become in Isaac, I'm never going to turn on my nose at a 1 Tears upgrade, as long as we're in, like, the standard rate of fire territory. If you got, like, oh my lord, I'm taking so much dumb damage here. If you've got Ipecac and you've got, like, a 70 rate of fire, obviously taking it to, like, a 68 or a 69, and yes, I did try to shy away from 69 because of the, you know, it's the dirty number. It is not going to be as good, but at the same time, usually when you get a Tears upgrade and you have a modifier like that, it ends up being much better. Having a higher magnitude, shall we say. We don't need to use Joker yet. Hopefully we don't have to use Joker on this floor. But it is nice to have a little bit of a fail-safe, I guess, in case things go wrong. We can still get a deal with the devil on this floor. Obviously, we're going to take Mr. Boom over Monster Manuel. You can use it, to much greater effect and impact over the course of a run, without a doubt. Head on in here, and honestly, with these stats, we have no business taking damage against essentially any boss. Especially not Monstro. So I think, yeah, we wait for him to jump, we pop Mr. Boom, he dies, we get an organic deal with the devil, which we actually can take. And we will take. And I think we'll pop this, and now if we get a self-sacrifice room in the future when we have a little bit more HP, we can purge this deal with the devil penalty and feel happy about it as a result. Alright, let's go peep this room. I will open one of these. It's able. It's not very good. And then we'll Joker out, and, I mean, I'll take Sack Dagger. I'm cognizant of the fact this is a little dangerous. But you know, I ain't afraid of no sleep. And oh my god, I'm an idiot. I'm definitely also afraid of no bed. And honestly, this is like the perfect amount of HP for me as far as I'm concerned. I think I excel in situations like this. Honestly, half of one red heart is a quarter more than I need to survive. So, I will ask that you never run the numbers on that because it doesn't really make... Well, actually, it would be rounded down because it's an int 32 instead of a long... Look, that's me making a parody of myself, I think, not anybody else. Why did you use a signed integer for your for loop counter? Oh my god. Okay, I've come back to life. Like I said, I'm really good at this game. But hey, okay, now I'm actually bad and mad at myself, but let's keep it going. You know, I rebuke the notion that these are huge misplays. The whole point of having Guppy's collar, well, you're gonna say the whole point is making it so that you can get the Guppy transformation. That is also true. But the secondary point of having Guppy's collar is that, you know, you're expecting at some point it might actually bring you back to life. Now, do we expect it to bring us back to life twice? Probably not. So I'm pretty pleased about that. Half a red heart, please. Strength, lovers. Okay, that's half a red heart. Lovers. I'm starting to feel it. Now that we got 1 HP, I'm actually just embarrassed. Like, you think I need 1 HP? That's 3/4 more than I need. And yes, I have taken high-level math classes. Thank you for... How did you know? Because I'm using fractions. You a fraction person or a decimal person? I'm 100% I'm a decimal person. But I will admit, there are people who are like, I don't understand why you'd ever use fractions. It's so much easier to manipulate fractions in your head than it is to manipulate decimals. Like, if you ask someone what 0.25 times 0.25 is, their brain is... Well, I mean, you could figure it out. It's really just 25 times 25 and then moving the decimal point. But, you know, it's a little bit clunky. You ask someone, what's 1/4 of a quarter? They, oh, why did you say so? That's 1/16. Look, this is where I'm at in my Isaac career, alright? It's 2018, I'm talking about fractions. 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 I mean, we're not talking about a decimal or an integer, the thing which I give my life for. We're talking about fractions? That's Allen Iverson, after being suspended for missing fractions. Yo, we should, especially now that our speed has gone up, we should go back to where we once belonged and peep this. Well, we should do a lot of things, actually, especially because we're somehow bizarrely ahead of schedule in spite of the fact that I've made some terrible mistakes. Let's try a bomb there. Okay, that's good, because it means we might be able to bomb our way into our curse room instead. And we could really use 9 lives. I mean, we could use a lot, but 9 lives is among the many things we could use. I think that I don't really want to waste any bombs, so I think that we would bomb here. And a range upgrade is not worth that much. Having already blown up 1 mushroom there, let's bounce. Okay, we got above 0 luck, and then a Gimpy as well. You know what? We should use this. Above 0 luck and then a Gimpy as well. So, it's not great, but it could be good in the future. I actually think that it's well within our sphere of influence and expectation here to come back and open this bad boy. 2 bombs for the price of a key. Probably not mission critical when you consider the fact that we've got 1 bomb every 2 rooms as a result of Mr. Boom, but... It's funny, this run went from, like, on the verge of death, and we're still kind of, it's an illusion. Like, we're still on the verge of death, but it went from reincarnation territory to, like, annihilation territory. And I'm not talking about the dictionary definition of the word annihilation. Rather, I'm talking about the movie starring Natalie Portman and Holly Hunter. It's coming out this... Is it Holly? It might not be Holly Hunter. I think maybe, I don't know. It doesn't, like, I'm not gonna rack my freaking brain over whether or not it's Holly Hunter in this February's Annihilation from TriStar Pictures, okay? All I know is that this is not a sponsored video, but I have read the subreddit and the plot summaries about the book series that the movie Annihilation is based on. It seems very interesting. That's all I'm going to throw out there. And it's going to annihilate the box office. And by annihilate, I mean, like, probably make, like, $40 million, because it seems like the sort of thing that is, like, the internet really is going to resonate with, and it could become like a Darren Aronofsky The Fountain sort of situation, but I don't necessarily think it's going to have the kind of mass appeal that allows you to hit that triple digits at the box office. But, you know, between Netflix, video on demand, the et ceteras and the et ceteras beyond this point, there's always a chance. You know, the long test. It's like, I'm an Annihilation. Well, the movie hasn't come out yet. It might be trash. And then this is going to age poorly for anybody watching the Isaac back catalog in the Library of Congress 130 years from now. That's right. I'm going to submit my videos to the Isaac of Congress. Oh, did I say Isaac of Congress? My fellow Americans, that's right. In the future, I'm your president. Scary thought. Bet not. I can't tell if people think I would be a good president or a bad president. On the one hand, I think I embody a lot of ideals. You know, I work hard. My family is the most important thing in the world to me. I consider myself, and I'm not even being sarcastic at this point, I consider myself an extremely, like, merciful person. And I know that sounds bad, but, or not bad, it sounds like comical maybe, but, you know, I'm not, I'm the kind of guy who's like, sure, this person, maybe they've got a drug offense, but, you know, let's let them out of jail, try to rehabilitate. I'm not the kind of person that's like, if you've ever touched a marijuana plant, you're, I'm sorry, you're basically the same as a murderer. Well, hold on now, I ain't ever said that, Northernlion. This is me being Jeff Sessions. Anyway, this is a problematic bit, so let's not go here. Continue moving on. But, you know, I believe in rehabilitation and clemency and, you know, a gentle hand, but also a firm fist. I don't know what that means, but it seems nice on a poster or something like that. Thank you for 2020. But on the other hand, there are documented instances of me not replying to direct messages on Twitter that people want me to reply to, and that might make me unelectable in today's economy. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to find out. I wouldn't even, and I've said this many times, I wouldn't even want to exist in public office. In its own way, YouTube and Twitch are kind of like a public office. You're not really elected, but you sort of are. I know that sounds weird. Like, anybody can stream, but to stream and, you know, make a living off of it is harder. And people essentially vote with their, I mean, now I'm saying, like, running a business is the same thing as being the president of the United States, which is not what I mean, but, you know, you get feedback every day, and if people don't like you, they cut you. Not with a knife, but, like, with their words and their deeds. So I'm already kind of living in that court of a public opinion on a daily basis, but it's kind of like, it's well worth it, I would say, because I get to play video games as well, and that's really like the great trade-off, is that not only do I get to play video games, but I get to, you know, indulge my narcissistic side and, you know, talk about all these bits, and every once in a while people go, oh, what's he talking about? And every infinitesimally once in a while they go, he's got a good point. And that's all I can add. If I can get one good point for every 100 what is he talking abouts, that's a good ratio as far as I'm concerned. Let's move along here. There were bombs in there somewhere, but no rush. And by no rush, I mean let's rush. Thank you, Gimpy. But imagine, like, I feel like being a city councilor is like that, but instead of playing Isaac, you're like, oh, there's a petition from Mr. Jenkins to change the name of County Road 4 to Jenkins Street. All in favor? All opposed? From the back of the auditorium, a single voice rings out, nay. Oh, the motion is defeated. We don't have Bookworm because we did not take Necronomicon, which was actually completely acceptable. We took Sack Dagger instead, and taking both would have given us a chance to die. Not a guaranteed death, but a chance to die because of Guppy's head. So, I can live with this. We also don't need Bookworm because we have 2020. We also, like, don't need to crash into enemies with Sack Dagger because we have 2020, not to mention our flies, but, I mean, I am as God made me, sir. I was born in orbital. I gotta die in orbital. BFF, dude, extremely great pickup. Let's keep it moving here. Sack Dagger is just gonna be like disgustingly good at this. But I'm not even worried about angel deals. Oh my god, I just realized, like, I've been focusing on commentary for like the whole episode. We're living in like a post-gameplay universe for Isaac, so that's not a big deal, but still, you know, we got things on the to-do list. The thing that makes the Isaac series tick for me personally is that there's progress and there's Zane. I really don't, and I'm being real, this is real talk right now. In order for Zane to exist, anti-Zane has to exist as well. You know, there has to be consequences to being zany. Otherwise, it's not zany. It's just silly, which is fine. But, like, you know, if there wasn't a chance for you to die in Isaac and have people be, like, maybe a little bit perturbed, I don't think the Zane is as fun. The thing that makes the Zane as fun as it is that you're like, oh my god, why is he deliberately making a mistake in an environment that has real consequences? Like, whenever... Sometimes it happens, there's like video games that'll come out and they'll be like, this game is just, it's just crazy. This game, and a good example of a game that is good, but I'm gonna criticize it for this anyway, because it just doesn't resonate with me, is Broforce. Second, important email? No, not an important email. Broforce is fun, but it's also ungrounded. And as a result, whenever I play it and they're like, you're Sylvester Stallone, isn't that weird? I'm like, well, I get it, sort of. But it would be a lot weirder if this game was like, it was Heavy Rain, and then all of a sudden Sylvester Stallone just showed up. But I understand that's not the tone everybody's trying to cultivate, but to some extent, that's kind of the tone that that I endeavor to find at any given moment in my daily life, you know what I mean? That's what I want. I want the juxtaposition of silly and serious. I want to be able, and this is why sometimes during the NLSS, we will broach a serious topic, and I think, oh, yeah, let's try. I don't think we've had this much in the new save file. People get weird about it, and I understand why. They're like, I watch this show because it's silly, not for any kind of realism. But I think that's like the driving element of part of what makes the NLSS funny, if you buy the lie that it actually is funny, is that, you know, we can talk about serious stuff, but put a comedic bent on it. You know, I think we're kind of like, I'll steal Rob's joke here. Kind of like The Daily Show in its prime, combined with a political satire of one Oscar Wilde, but a little better. You know, in an Isaac episode, I got no problem touching on essentially like any subject. Because I truly believe, we might play that to try to purge our deal with the devil chance. Let's just make sure our HP holds up. I truly believe, I'm gonna be careful with the way that I say this, because it's very easily refuted, and I'd rather you believe me, despite it being easily refuted. As long as you approach any discussion in good faith, you can have a productive conversation that can also be funny. And not every conversation has to be funny, but I'm just talking through the lens of creating content for YouTube and Twitch. I think we could talk about any controversial subject, and if me and the audience were on the same page, that we're just having fun, and, you know, the things that we're saying don't necessarily replicate our true beliefs 100%, because some issues deserve to be treated with a sense of decorum, absolutely. Then we could have a conversation about anything. Now, the terms become tougher. I guess we won't be going to that self-sacrifice room. The terms become tougher as the subjects become more controversial, because people are they're more sensitive about them. You know, if we're going to talk about, like, oh, what are the proper ingredients for a sandwich? Everybody's like, I'm in. If we're like, It's hard to even think of a controversial example that fits because it's like too dangerous. Oh, Jeff Sessions' recent comments that, you know, marijuana is roughly on the same level as heroin. You know, there are some people, most people, I think, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Most people of a certain age that don't just parrot what they see on television are gonna be like, come on, dude. Even if you're like extremely anti-legalization, you're gonna be like, Breaking Bad has some scenes with heroin. It doesn't really, like some troubling scenes with heroin. I'm not saying Breaking Bad should inform all of your, I'm just using like a common example that many people would be familiar with to explain why that's just essentially a stupid opinion. But there would be some people who would be like, ooh, I don't know. That's pretty controversial. I don't think so. Anyway. That's why we had like a discussion, kind of half-jokingly, about politics and universal basic income on the NLSS. And at the time, Twitch chat was going like, you know, facepalm, I don't understand why I come to this show to get away from politics, ha ha ha. And I was kind of annoyed by that, I'll admit, even though I thought the show turned out pretty well. I was really happy to see that, like, in the mega thread on the subreddit, people were like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually liked the show. I think they were able to keep the tone of an NLSS while revealing, like, some of their real opinions and treating one another with respect, even though they disagree, and we do disagree. I mean, like, the joke is, you know, Rob is our politics, Nick is essentially just a full-blown, like, revolutionary communist at this point, and then I am just, like, like, the world's most liberal conservative, apparently. I didn't realize I thought I was extremely liberal, but then I don't know, maybe it's just hanging out with Nick. I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with you on everything. I don't know. I'm like, I support everything that you're saying, except I don't think we should put rich people into a guillotine. So, and then chat's like, well, that means you're a Republican now. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I didn't know. All this time, I didn't think that was the case, but anyway. And again, even this, some people are going to be like, don't talk about politics. No, screw that. You can talk about anything as long as you talk about it in the right way. I agree, though. It would be very tonally dissonant if we just opened this episode with me being like, I hate whatever, you know, that would be wrong. But for it to come up naturally in the flow of conversation, I think it's, I trust everybody enough to be able to handle a conflicting viewpoint that's treated with levity in a situation like this. And look at that, that was a great conversation to get us through Boss Rush right there. And that's the bottom line. All I'm saying is if you support income tax, go back to Latvia. I know, that's very ignorant. No, I don't know. I think you on the internet don't give each other enough credit. You know, I think we can handle this. We can work through this together. We can talk about anything. It's a difficult conversation to have because a lot of like hack pseudo comedians online are like, you know, I said something offensive. But if you're offended, sorry, snowflake. And I'm like, no, it's just, you should, I'm sorry your joke is bad. I don't want to, I'm not going to, like, I don't even have a name to name. Is the thing, I'm not naming names because I don't have a name to name. There's a ton of people, probably me at many times during the NLSS, I'll admit. But, you know, sometimes you can be offensive if you do it tactfully. It's like a lot of really good comedy is really offensive. But it's humor, you know. The joke is constructed in a way that it's a trenchant observation. If you just go on stage and say something, you just say like an ethnic slur, and then when people go, "Hey, that's offensive," oh, I didn't realize we're in the medieval era where words have power. That's not edgy. That's just bad comedy. If you can structure it in a way that, you know, you can use that as some kind of, you know, a little bit of a humorous device, more power to you. So many times I see, online especially, I think this is quieted down a little bit, but maybe it's because I only use Twitter when I hate myself now. So many times I used to see people online. It'd be like, you know, terrible opinion that's framed as a joke, but really badly. And then someone would be like, hey, just so you know, that's like really ignorant. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that there's no jokes allowed on the... No, there's jokes allowed. Your joke is just actually just really... It's offensive to me, not as a comedian, because I wouldn't say that I am, but it's offensive to me as someone who likes to laugh and was deprived of that experience in the moment because of your hack joke. Come back, workshop it a bit. Spend a sleepless night, you know, rehearsing in your head and figuring out the best way to get the beats out there in such a way that it... comes across as being actually funny instead of merely hateful, and then come back and maybe we'll do like a little quality assurance together. Not that I'm holding all the keys, you know. Anyway, how's the Isaac run going? Well, it's going so well that I'm getting into problematic topics of discussion. You ever feel that way about the internet, though? I feel like we talked about this on the NLSS, but I didn't get into it as much as I wanted to. And there's humor to mine here, and there's also tears to be shed. You ever feel like maybe, like, as a joke, but also seriously, like Twitter and Facebook have ruined society forever? Like, you know, I'm the first guy whenever someone's like, all these millennials just looking at their cell phone. Have you ever heard of, a book? You know, I'm like, that's a ridiculous opinion. But, you ever feel like maybe human beings were not meant to be able to instantly surround ourselves with hundreds or thousands of people that agree with us despite the viewpoint not necessarily having any evidence to back it up? You know, I feel like that. I feel like there is a helpful check in a pre-internet society, and that is, if you have a really, really bad opinion, it becomes a lot harder for that opinion to become emboldened. And I say this as somebody who probably has a lot of bad opinions. I'm at least conscious of the intellectual dishonesty of, like, looking at YouTube comments or Twitch chat and one person agrees with me and 99 people disagree with me, and I'm like, well, it looks like it's about 50-50. I have ridiculous opinions about, you know, how to behave in the grocery store of all things that are largely satirical, but sometimes a little nugget of truth. But, you know, if you were, like, you lived in a town of, like, 5,000 people, of which you probably knew, you know, closely, maybe, like, a few dozen. If you were like, hey, I have just an opinion I have no evidence for whatsoever. People would be like, hey, Bob, I don't have that opinion, and neither does anybody that we know. So I think, like, you're entitled to have it, but we think you're kind of, like, ill-informed. Now it's like, hey, Twitter, awful opinion. And then like 1,000 people are like, I also hold awful opinion. And I validate you. And if anyone, and this is not true for everybody, there are probably people who rise above this. But, you know, whenever I see a Twitter thread with some drama, I'm like, gotta peep those Menchies. Show me those Menchies. And I ain't talking about a frozen yogurt chain. Show me the drama in the mentions. I need to see it. I'm human, just like anybody else. No. Well, it's a little dicey here, isn't it? It's always like, well, just so you know, I think that, like, I disagree with your opinion. Lol, shill, blocked for your own protection. Oh, no. This is how we're gonna die, isn't it? This is how human society is gonna collapse. Is not, well, you know, there might be like 20 or 30 things that lead to human society collapsing, but one of those issues is gonna be like, as a result of the internet, which is just a wonderful invention, and I mean that sincerely. Like, maybe the best invention ever, next to, like, life-saving medicine. But, as a result of the internet, you never anymore have to really take a dissenting opinion seriously. You just block and move on. I try not to do it. It's hard, because it's not that hard for me. I'm kind of making that up. You know why it's not that hard for me? Is because I don't do serious things on Twitter anymore. In my life, I don't go to Twitter and go like, wow, I can't believe this political decision, blah, blah, blah. You know, I decided a few years ago, that's not really the way I wanted to spend my time, is by waking up, tweeting something that makes me mad, and then, you know, somebody disagrees with me, and then I spend 2 hours arguing with them. I'm better served making Slay the Spire videos that people get mad at, and then I can be like a lightning rod for that criticism in a different way. As we head down to the next floor. But, you know, that's still, it's tempting. You know, you get any form of criticism, you're just like, you're muted forever. I literally never have to see anything you say ever again. I've discounted you as a person. That being said, I love the mute. I really do. I got people muted on Twitter. Not that many. But I do, like, sometimes, this has happened before. People that tweet me, and, you know, I might even be talking about 1 or 2 of you. It's not that many. Don't be like, oh my god, does NL have me muted? Because if you tweet me and say, am I muted? I'm just going to mute you. It's like half a joke. I don't have time to respond to these am I muted requests all day, alright? I'm too busy drinking my coffee and arguing politics on Twitter. As I've already established. But sometimes someone will just leave me like a really, like, venomous Twitter message. And they'll be like, hey, I'm a big fan of your content, but, like, are you actually, like, mentally and medically stupid because of blah, 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 blah? And then sometimes, like, I'll respond and go like, hey, dude, that's not cool. And they go, sorry, I got caught up in the moment. Like, I didn't really mean it. I can understand why you would think that way. But sometimes I just mute them. And I give, like, the most basic reason ever. If you had a stranger in your cellular telephone, and 9 out of 10 times they message you, they were like, hey, how you doing? And 1 out of 10 times they message you and were like, I hate you. You would block that number in a heartbeat. You would not be, or you would mute it, okay, in this case. You wouldn't go to it and be like, well, 90% of the time they're really nice. You would be like, nah, I don't need this negativity from this stranger. Anyway. Weird episode. Fun, though. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Tweet me your feedback. But don't tweet me and ask if you're muted. I will probably not mute you, because I remember this episode, and I will be like, I get it. But just be wary, okay? You play with fire, we both might get burned. Remember, it's all in jest, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.